How pleased are you with kind of the restructuring you guys have done with that group and the forward group in general?
Yeah, I think I'm really happy. Obviously we've got our core group of guys back that have been big contributors to the success we've had. And, with some of the injuries and lack of depth from last year, kind of reminds me of the year when we brought in Burakovsky and Donskoy and those guys and helped push us over the top. We targeted, a good group of forwards that could come in and help us, and we're hoping that they all fit in seamlessly. I mean, they've all had really good careers to this point, and hopefully they can, even take it another level for our team.
Evan.
Obviously, nobody wants to go out in the first round, but do you get the sense just being around the guys that everyone's a little re-energized after a longer summer?
Yeah, I think so. I think it can help with the hunger again, number one. Number two, with all the injuries that we had at the end of last season and that being an issue for us, the competitor in you always wants to go as far as you can possibly go in the playoffs. And you want to see your guys get rewarded for all the hard work they put in through the regular season. And I thought we really scratched and clawed, especially the second half of the year, and found a way to win the division. It was disappointing going out in the first round. But a longer summer to allow our guys to heal and get some rest after having a short summer, the one before. Looking at the big picture and what can help set us up for success this year, I don't think it's a terrible thing.
We'll go Eric and then Kyle.
Jared, what do you remember of that brief period where you overlapped with Ryan Johansson in Springfield, I think it was a decade ago, and just what do you think he can bring to this team?
Yeah, so a younger player when he first came to us, obviously an elite talent at the time. You saw where he got drafted. Seen what he's done since. I feel like, he was a highly touted offensive guy with all the tools to, help a team produce offensively. Obviously, he's learned the defensive side of the game and has put a great commitment in that area. He's relied upon in a bunch of different areas for Nashville, Columbus. We've studied his game closely. We've looked at a lot of things. I expect him to be able to slot in the two-hole for us. He'll be able to play with some of our top players and help them create offense. He's a real good face-off guy. Depending on how we structure our lines, I think we could look a few different ways with our top nine.
Kyle.
Jared, you mentioned getting your guys healthy going into the season as of now. Is this roster fully healthy? Are there any guys who you don't expect to start the regular season beyond Landeskog?
Yeah. There's a long list, actually, of guys. I got a list today from all of our physicals. Like, we're getting close on a few guys that were hampered at the end of last year. Some of those guys are day-to-day. Cogliano's one. Okay, he'll participate in camp. Likely not to play exhibition games, but he's feeling really good, and hopefully he's ready for regular season. We got Manson still dealing with a little bit of a lower body issue. He's coming along nicely. It's a little bit slower than what we would have liked and what he would have liked. He had a tough summer when it comes to just breaking up his training a little bit for personal reasons, but he's feeling good, and he will hit the ice tomorrow with us. So that's another guy that's not fully 100%. Frankie's still out with a lower body injury. He will not hit the ice with us. And Makar won't hit the ice with us at the beginning of training camp either. He's considered day-to-day as well. Likely to get on the ice a little bit here, hoping this weekend, and then be able to join the group full go early next week. And then, there's some other guys that we would have liked to see in camp. Foodie is not cleared. He's dealing with a lower body injury. Wagner, one of the guys we signed, he ruptured his Achilles. He's going to be out for quite some time yet, probably, hoping for sometime early in the new year. Bocage had shoulder surgery. Obviously, he's a guy we've been keeping an eye on with the Eagles for a while. He's rehabbing nicely and getting close to a return. He's on the ice, as you see, in a non-contact, but he won't be with the main group just because of the contact. I don't know if you guys got the note, but Minalainen did not clear his physical. We released him from the PTO. Richie, one of our draft picks from this year, had shoulder surgery in the off season. We knew about that. He's going to miss the start of the season as well, so he won't participate in camp. And then just 3 recent sort of day-to-day ones for us right now, which were guys that we'd like to see early in camp and sort of get them up to full speed. But Amat, Poland, and Andre Pavel are all out with, Amat and Pavel with lower body day-to-day, and then Poland's upper body day-to-day from a incident in the rookie tournament. And we're really hoping those guys can get back quickly, and then hopefully get them in some exhibition games before we start playing a more veteran lineup at the end of this thing.
Okay, go Ryan, then Bennett.
Jared, just to get it out of the way, can you talk to us about where Landeskog is at in his recovery, how everything's gone to this point?
I think to this point it's gone great. Yeah, I think he's feeling really good. I think he's got a great positive attitude when it comes to it. Doctors are happy with the way everything's going. That being said, it's early in this rehab process, so and just the time frame of what he needs and what the doctors want him to be out because of the extensive surgery that he had. Like, we're just not expecting him to be able to play. Yeah, but everything is going real well, and we're hopeful that it will continue in that direction throughout the course of the season.
Bennett.
Jared, I'm sure you'll try a little bit of both early in the season especially, but do you think your ideal situation this season is to feel like you can keep McKinnon and Rantanen on a line together more often than you did down the stretch last year? Do you feel like your top 6 is in a position where you can do that more? Or do you sort of want to keep them separated, considering that they were both rolling a lot towards the end last year, even on separate lines?
Both. Yeah, I do think that our top 6, top 9 is in a better position to be able to keep them together if that's what we decide. Those 2 guys will clearly have input in that. And I think that we can also play them apart based on what we saw last year. So we'll experiment with that a little bit. I guess if you what I like is the options and the depth that we have there in the top 9 especially. A couple years ago, we'd play, go to the playoffs, Edmonton, Tampa. There was games in the playoffs where we were at home and I put McKinnon with Rantanen. And, I remember specifically going into Edmonton and switching McKinnon's line mates to Val and Lecky to play against McDavid, and that worked out real well. So I like that flexibility. We'll certainly see time with them together and apart through the course of the regular season. So they're all familiar with playing one another, so we have options come playoff time to, if need be, that we can split them up and go that way as well. They'll with a lot of new guys in the top 9, I think that we'll see some experimentation here early in the season and find out what works, what doesn't, and what other options we have, so we're flexible.
Colleen, then Megan.
Coach, have you considered revisiting naming a captain now that Gabe's officially out for the entire season, or a temporary captain?
Yeah, I've thought about it, but I'm not going to do that. I think if we wouldn't have gotten good news from Landy that his rehab wasn't going well, or that he didn't have a plan on returning to our team, then I would have really dug in on it. But everything seems to be going really well. We have our leaders in our room, whether they wear letters or not. We'll go with the same group as last year with McCarr, McKinnon, Rantanen, and those guys are perfectly capable of leading our group. They're the guys that spend the most time on the ice, and then we have a bunch of leaders as well, like Cogliano, Taser, to name a few. The list goes on, really, in their specific departments. So I love the leadership of our team. I love the hunger that they played with last year under some difficult circumstances, and I expect them to be able to lead us back to where we want to go.
Megan, then Eric.
In hearing that list of injuries, what are you specifically looking for now from players that are in a position to impress you? And is there anybody already on your radar?
Yeah, there's guys on our radar from the time that we sign them. You know, we get excited about guys. I've watched all the new guys that we've brought in. Our management does a good job of identifying those guys. I look at them. The rest of the coaches look at them. We're impressed with a handful of guys that we've signed, traded for, on top of the new core guys that we, that are scheduled in our top 9. A guy like Olofsson that's coming from Dallas. Tufty had a breakout year in the minors. I'm excited. I like the growth that I've seen from some of the guys that I mentioned that are banged up a little bit, like Poland, Pavel, Sandlin, like those guys that we signed at the end of the year. A little bit older college prospects that come out that played for the Eagles at the end of the year, got comfortable, have been around us, for a little bit now. I want to see the steps that they take. So there's a long list of guys, and even some of the young guys, just where are they at in their development? Like Oscar Olofsson, like where is he at? What type of impact can he make through training camp, exhibition? A lot of those guys are going to get a real good look here in exhibition, just because we're still looking for, at least 1D, couple forwards to try and crack our roster, and hopefully they're in our room here tonight.
Gareth and Peter.
One of those top 9 options you just mentioned, you had several options to kind of look into, and one of those is Jonathan Drouin, who, like Johansson, was a high pick, but his career has taken a turn, probably not the way he's wanted. Just what are you most excited for about him, and how much do you buy into that chemistry he had with Nate over a decade ago?
Well, it's a long time ago. I'm more interested in where his attitude's at. I've had some discussions with him over the course of the off season. He's been in here working since Nate's been back. They're spending a lot of time together. I believe in Nate as a leader, right? So you get around him, he's going to drive the best out of you. And as long as you're willing to do your part, he's going to help you along the way. So, knowing Nate and his history with Jonathan and my conversations with Jonathan and the way he's been putting in the work in the summer, he's come in pretty good condition. He's spending the time needed on the ice with Nate already before training camp starts. I like the tools that he brings to our team. His ability to distribute the puck, create offense, they're exceptional, and hopefully we can get him back to the path that he had maybe first seen for himself coming out of junior and turning pro. And so we'll be patient with him, but we're also going to push him a little bit here, and hopefully he can be a big contributor to our team. That's why we took a chance on him, because we believe he can be.
Peter.
I'm curious, just what was the communication like between you and Val over the course of the off season, and just what are you looking to see from him as the season gets going?
I've talked to him multiple times. I saw him early in the off season. We've talked a little bit more here recently, and I have a lot of faith in Val and who he is as a player and as a person. So I think that he's a hungry player. He wants to come back in and make a huge impact like we know he can. I think he's had a really good season of off-season of training. He's excited to be back. We're certainly excited to have him back. Missed a lot of time last year with injuries and faced some adversity. And he's a big part of our team. We signed him to a long-term contract to help contribute long-term. And I think, I have a lot of faith in him. I think he's going to get back to playing the way he did in that Stanley Cup year. And he's a driven, motivated player.
Couple last ones, JJ, then Aaron, and then Brandon.
It's the first season in a while that you have some familiarity with your starting goalie. I guess, what do you expect of Georgiev this season that you didn't expect of him last year? How do you raise that bar for him?
Well, I guess it's no different than any other player for me. We expect a lot out of our guys, even our top guys coming off career years, to be able to try and continually push and try to take another step. He fits into that category for me. Surprising numbers and amount of games played. He had a career high games played, which was almost double his previous high. He won 40 games for us. Career best goals against average, save percentage. I want him to go push and get in competition with himself and try to beat those numbers from last year. You know, that's what we're always trying to do, be the best version of ourselves we can be. I think that's all we can ask for.
Coach, you're once again one of the favorites to make a run at the Cup. Do you have a sense with this group how excited they are to get back on the ice after what was a disappointing end of last season?
Yeah, I think every year comes with a certain level of excitement. I think that you look at the leadership group that we have, the core players we have. That's why we're you know, classified as one of the favorites, right? I mean, early in the off season, I looked at, you know, some of the predictions, and you know, we'd only had maybe half a team signed. That tells you right there. They have you know, everyone else is seeing what we're seeing with our leaders, McKinnon, Rantanen, Taze, Makar, you know, so that's a positive thing. I think those expectations from around the league, you know, ours within our room are probably even higher. We like it that way. I think we've earned some of that respect. I do feel like they're going to be hungry. Our guys will be hungry. You know, we won. We got a taste of it. Disappointing, frustrating year in a lot of ways last year. But the one thing that I go back on is you look at all the guys that played on that Stanley Cup team, the guys that are back this season. I think there's 7 forwards, 6D back from that Stanley Cup team. And, you know, facing the adversity that we faced last year in regular season, most of those guys had career years, you know. So just goes to show me they're not going to be satisfied. And I expect after a long off season, a little bit of disappointment that we come back better than ever.
Finish with Brandon.
Jared, kind of that end. What do you think of the Nuggets and their run in the parade? And, you know, you guys, I'm sure, wanting that again. And then we saw South Florida, both teams get to the finals. They don't share a building. Have you allowed yourself, or have you talked to Coach Malone at all about the idea y'all might both have some deep runs here in the coming years with where your cores are?
Yeah, well, first of all, the Nuggets run I thought was incredible, and I love to see it. I think that talking with Coach Malone over the years and some of the frustrations that they'd had losing out and some of the frustrations we had losing out, there was a lot of similarities and is a lot of similarities between the teams. You know, like our top guys have been drafted and developed, same with theirs. Going about it the right way, adding in moving on from certain free agents year to year to try and better your group, and then to finally see it all come together. It was a 5, 6, 7 year journey for us to get to where we wanted to go with this core group and adding to it, and it was very similar with them. So I like to see the teams have that type of patience and fortitude to have success, and especially when there are neighbors and a lot of good friends over there in the other locker room.
Thank you, Jared.
Yep. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Jared.
Yep.